This is the story of glider kits, the trucking industry's clever workaround that let drivers dodge modern emissions controls by dropping pre-2007 engines into brand-new truck bodies. The EPA finally shut it down after a messy fight involving sketchy research, political arm-twisting, and hundreds of millions in tax battles. A glider kit sounds like aviation equipment, and that's exactly where the name comes from. Just like an aircraft glider lacks an engine, a glider kit truck is basically a brand new truck without an engine. Everything else comes factory fresh: transmission, axles, body, frame. But here's where things get interesting. Instead of installing a modern, emissions-compliant engine, truckers would drop in a remanufactured or salvaged engine from an older truck, typically something that predated the strict EPA emissions standards that kicked in from 2007 to 2010. Picture this scenario. You grab a Detroit Diesel 60 Series or a Caterpillar C15 from a 2005 truck, engines known for their mechanical, bulletproof reliability. You refurbish them to like-new specifications, then install them in a 2016 truck body. Suddenly, you've created a brand-new truck with old-school engine technology that completely sidesteps a decade of emissions regulations. For truckers, especially owner-operators running on razor-thin margins, glider kits felt like a miracle. These pre-emission engines did not carry the complex after-treatment systems that modern trucks require. No diesel particulate filters, no selective catalytic reduction technology, and crucially, no need for diesel exhaust fluid, or DEF. Those systems might sound like technical jargon, but for a trucker, they represent thousands of dollars in maintenance costs and countless hours of downtime when sensors fail and engines derate. Tommy Fitzgerald Sr., whose company became the undisputed king of glider kits, put it bluntly, "Our goose was cooked until President Trump and Pruitt came to town." Fitzgerald Glider Kits, founded in 1989 by Tommy and his brother Ricky in Central Tennessee, grew from a small operation into what Tommy called a $700 million truck manufacturing business by capitalizing on this regulatory gap. The numbers reveal an industry explosion. In 2007, glider kit sales totaled around 1,000 units. By 2016, that number had rocketed to about 10,000 glider kits built and sold annually. The market had grown 20-fold in less than a decade. Originally, glider kits served a legitimate purpose, allowing truckers to salvage usable engines from trucks whose bodies had been damaged beyond repair. But by the 2010s, this had morphed into something entirely different. A cottage industry built around deliberately avoiding emissions controls. The financial incentives were massive. At Fitzgerald, glider kits typically cost 25% less than a new tractor. Depending on the model year of the engine, emissions equipment alone could add anywhere from 3 to 7 cents per mile to operating costs. One estimate suggested that buyers could save $20,000 on DEF expenses, fuel costs, and maintenance over 3 years. And here's the kicker. Glider owners also avoided the federal excise tax, which is 12% on the cost of a new truck. But there was a staggering environmental cost hiding behind these savings. Under the EPA's analysis, glider trucks using engines made before 2002 could pump out 20 to 40 times more nitrogen oxides and particulate matter than current engines. The California Air Resources Board discovered that a single pre-emissions engine in a new glider kit produces pollution equivalent to as many as 450 modern trucks with 2010 or later engines. Though glider trucks made up only about 2% of heavy-duty truck sales in 2014, the EPA calculated they accounted for roughly 50% of the air pollution from all trucks. Matt Spears, who headed the EPA's heavy-duty on-road sector at the time, explained the agency's concern. In the Phase 2 rule, we said, yeah, this does appear to be a loophole. So that's why we proposed to do something about it, because of the disproportionately large impact on particulate matter and NOx emissions that these relatively small sales numbers had. The health implications were staggering. The EPA estimated that 5,000 to 10,000 glider trucks would cause 350 to 1,600 early deaths for each year of production over the lifetimes of those vehicles. By their analysis, taking just 1,000 glider trucks off the road could prevent 160 premature deaths due to air pollution. In October 2016, under the Obama administration, the EPA finalized new rules that would slam shut the glider kit loophole. Starting in 2018, manufacturers would be limited to producing just 300 glider kits annually, and rebuilt engines would have to meet modern emissions standards. The glider industry's days appeared numbered. Then came the 2016 election. In August of that year, Fitzgerald hosted candidate Donald Trump at a campaign event in its Tennessee facilities. After Trump's victory, the regulatory landscape shifted dramatically. In May 2017, EPA Administrator Scott Pruitt met with Tommy Fitzgerald in his EPA office. Just 3 months later, Pruitt granted petitions from Fitzgerald and other manufacturers asking the EPA to reconsider the glider regulations. What happened next became one of the most controversial episodes in EPA history. Fitzgerald funded a study at Tennessee Tech University that concluded glider vehicles with remanufactured engines did not pollute the air any more than trucks with newer engines. The company paid about $70,000 for the study and later agreed to build a new academic research center for the university. But the study was deeply flawed. No credentialed scientist or engineer oversaw the research, and a first-year graduate student was in charge of analyzing the test data. The study failed to properly test for particulate matter, a key toxic component of diesel emissions. The methodology was so problematic that Tennessee Tech's own president later requested that the EPA not use the university study in its decision-making. Despite these red flags, Pruitt pressed forward. In November 2017, the EPA proposed to completely repeal the emissions standards for glider vehicles. The proposal drew fierce opposition from environmental groups, health organizations, and even major truck manufacturers like Volvo, Navistar, and Cummins, who had invested billions in developing cleaner engines only to watch competitors sidestep those requirements entirely. Paul Billings from the American Lung Association said he could not recall an issue with such a breadth of opposition. Former EPA Administrator Christine Todd Whitman called the proposal senseless. She said, "Everybody breathes the same air, Democrats or Republicans. This is about keeping people healthy." The controversy reached its peak on July 6, 2018. Pruitt's last day as the EPA administrator before resigning amid numerous scandals. In what critics called a parting gift to the glider industry, Pruitt issued a no-action assurance, essentially promising manufacturers that the EPA would not enforce the stricter pollution controls. But the move backfired spectacularly. Just 12 days later, the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals granted an emergency stay, blocking the EPA's promise. Acting Administrator Andrew Wheeler, Pruitt's replacement, officially withdrew the no-action assurance within weeks. By late 2018, Tennessee Tech admitted that certain conclusions in its glider study were inaccurate. The EPA's Inspector General later discovered that the agency had failed to develop required cost and benefit analyses and to assess air quality impacts on children's health during Pruitt's rulemaking process. The final blow came from the market itself. As the EPA's Phase 2 standards took full effect in 2021, major truck manufacturers began exiting the glider business entirely. Peterbilt discontinued glider sales in 2019. Freightliner, Mack, Volvo, and Kenworth followed suit. Daimler Trucks North America announced it had built its final gliders in 2020 after 50-plus years of building gliders. Today, the glider kit industry as it once existed is effectively dead. Fitzgerald and its competitors have exited the business, unable to navigate the stringent emissions requirements. The company that once employed hundreds and claimed to be a $700 million operation now describes itself in court filings as not nearly the company that it once was. But Fitzgerald's troubles are not over. The company remains locked in a high-stakes legal battle with the IRS over whether it should have collected 12% federal excise taxes from glider buyers. With excise taxes unpaid on more than 12,800 gliders, penalties and interest have pushed the potential liability to around $300 million for a company that never collected those taxes from purchasers in the first place. The glider kit saga represents more than just a regulatory dispute. It is a case study in how economic incentives, political pressure, and questionable science can combine to undermine environmental protection. While some glider trucks remain in operation, serving specialized industries like oil fields and heavy hauling, the days of mass-producing these zombie trucks to circumvent emissions controls are over. The EPA's victory was Pyrrhic, coming only after years of pollution that health experts estimate contributed to hundreds of premature deaths. In the end, the glider kit controversy shows how even the most clever regulatory workarounds eventually face the reality of environmental law. The pre-emissions engines that once powered American highways have finally been relegated to history, taking with them an industry that thrived in the gap between old technology and new regulations.